is a hard lesson that you have learned throughout the years? Something you've learned the hard way as a multi-grade teacher?
So I promised myself that I would always do my best to be honest with my teachers, and it has nothing to do with teaching, because you can solve any problems if they didn't get something. It is not the end of the world, so I am going to be very vulnerable here. It is health. Take care of your health. Try to leave your school early. And because if you're going to stay until the last thing is done, I am not exaggerating. We can be living there 24/7 because we have such a creative profession. It is not 2 + 2. We can go above and beyond and infinity if we wanted to, and we want to. So put a hard time that you have to leave, take care of your health, walk, spend time with Jesus. Like I cannot stress this enough. And I've learned my hard lessons. I had to even go to emergency rooms in the middle of a lesson. So, because it is a lot, and I love my job, but we confuse love with I can keep going. So just take care of your health, so you don't have to learn it the hard way.
For me, I would say boundaries. That I just want to start there, boundaries. And I think that we as teachers, we give so much of ourselves. And Ms. Padillo, she stepped out, but this is something that I even have just learned, and I've been teaching almost 10 years. But because we want to do so many things sometimes, and even Nicole has told me, you can't do everything. So you have to sometimes say no, and that's because you don't want to stretch yourself thin. You don't want to, just try to do everything, and then you're not doing it to the best of your ability. So I think definitely having a time frame of where you say, I have to stop. Because, us as teachers, we'll work our whole summer, and then we're like, where was my break? So you want to make sure that you're having those times where you are just reflecting and making sure that you're being your best. Also for me, I think a lesson that I had to learn is reflection days, which I do on Wednesdays, where it's just I'm checking to see where we are midpoint of the week, and I want to check and see how are my lessons going. And so for me, that has been something that changed how I teach, where I am also reflecting on how I'm doing and checking to make sure that my students are learning.
For me, I am goal-oriented. And so when students come to me and there's been a problem on the playground or there's been a problem, sometimes I struggle to listen to their long explanation of what happened. I want to get to the end. And so I have jumped to the end sooner than I should have, taking time to listen. And granted, right then may not be the time, because you do have a classroom that's falling apart behind you. And so, but actually really taking that time, making sure that each of those students feels like, yes, you heard them, and you care, and that you were there for them. So that's the big thing that I have to keep reminding myself. Listen first, and then decide what to do after, but listen.
Only one? There's lots. From an administrative side and the teacher side, I guess I can speak for both. How many of you are administrators as well as teachers? Okay, so a few. And this goes for teachers as well. Communication. Communicate in a variety of ways. I am still learning this, and this has still been a struggle for me this year personally, because I'm like, I have sent home the letter. We have mailboxes outside of all of our classrooms, which are just like hanging file pocket folders with file folders that has the kid's name, and that's their mailbox. Check your mail. I put all communication in there so that I know Callie did not take home her mail for a week, so I will walk it out to her parent at pickup. And then I will text message. We use Fax RunWeb, and we can easily email parents and have documentation of all of those emails that went out. I have emailed, but just communicate as much as you can. Let the parents know the positives and the negatives, ways their kids can improve, but just communicating enough that they know you care about their child. Communicate with all of your stakeholders. Church members want to know what's going on in the school. They're invested and they want to know what's going on, but as far as with parents, just communicate. Let them know what you're doing. Send home those graded papers often. If your SIS program allows like weekly reports, I don't know if yours does.
Jupiter does.
Jupiter, I know RunWeb, I don't know the other systems if they will. It does? Okay, so just if you keep your gradebook updated, parents have no surprises when it comes for parent-teacher conferences.
So, it's okay to be a learner as like your students, and I've had to learn to say, okay, I know I'm very particular about how I want this set up or done, or I want everything to be right before I start it. That's not always the case in education, so I have to sometimes tell my students, okay, we're going to try something for like a week, and if it works, yes, and if it doesn't work, we're going to start again, but I'm learning too. So I've had to learn to be vulnerable with my students and let them know I'm learning in this learning journey with you. And as like a, I don't want to call it perfectionist, but a very particular person, that's hard. That's really hard. So if you're like that, it's okay to be a learner too, and let your students know that you're on that journey.
Thank you so much, ladies. I think we're going to tie it up here just because we do have a Zoom we have to get on and we want to keep lunch on schedule today. But I think this is like so helpful. I'm just sitting here listening going, yep, yep, to everything you've said.